Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Rukmini Dwarkadish, Rukmini Dwarkadish, Rukmini Dwarkadish, Rukmini Dwarkadish. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol, Jaya Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa Pariprajak Acharya Sri Shrimad. ISKCON BBT founder Acharya Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Vijay, as long as you're there, can you prop that side door open? We need some air in here. It's very, very warm. Thank you. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our bare means of conquest, let us offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God, our Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, who is the translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavata Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly attending the Srimad Bhagavatam class and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed and loving devotional service unto the personality of God, whose worship with transcendental songs becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is a very auspicious day, Pandava Nirjala Kadasi, and as was mentioned this morning, I'm going to save us some time at the end to say some words about His Grace Yamaraj Das, who left us on Friday, 5 a.m. East Coast time. That's it. I was Brahma Muhurta there, 2 o'clock our time. And we had extensive and extended association, so I will say a few words about him. We're continuing our reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 8, prayers of Queen Kunti and Parikshit saved. Today's text is 37. Api adya nas tvam sakritehita prabho jihasasi swit suriro anujivinaha yesham na chanyad bhavataha padambujat parayanam rajasu yojitang hasam apyadanastang sakrite hita prabho jihasasi swit surido nujivinaha yeshang nachanyad bhavatak padambujat parayanang rajasu yojitang hasam apyadanastang sakrite hita prabho jihasasi swit surido nujivinaha yeshang nachanyad bhavatak padambujat parayanang rajasu yojitang hasam apyadanastang sakrite hita prabho jihasasi swit surido nujivinaha yeshang nachanyad bhavatak padambujat parayanang rajasu yojitang hasam. Please chant. Jihasasi swit surido nujivinaha yesham nachanyad bhavatak padambujat parayanang rajasu yojitang hasam apyadanastang sakrite hita prabho jihasasi swit surido nujivinaha yeshang nachanyad bhavatak padambujat Vaishnavis. Apyadyatastang sakrite hita prabho Jihasasi Sweet Surido Nujibinaha Yeshang Nachanyad Babatak Padam Bujan Parayanang Rajasu Yojitang Hasam Apyadyanastang Sakrite Hita Prabhu Jihasasi Sweet Surido Nujibinaha Ishang Nachanyan Babatak Padam Bujan So, synonyms api, if, adya, you need to scroll down. Okay. Adya, today. Naha, us. Tvam, you. Swakrita, self-executed. Ihita, all duties. Prabhu, O my Lord. Jihasasi, giving up. Swit, possibly. Suridaha, intimate friends. Anujivinaha, living at the mercy of. Yesham, of whom. Na, nor. Cha, and. Anyat, anyone else. Bhavataha, your. Pada ambujat, from the lotus feet. Parayanam, dependent. Rajasu, unto the kings. Yojita, engaged in. Anghasam, enmity. Srila Prabhupada's translation for this verse. O my Lord, you have executed all duties yourself. Are you leaving us today, though we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us, now when all kings are at enmity with us? Please repeat. O my Lord, you have executed all duties yourself. Are you leaving us today, though we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us, now when all kings are at enmity with us? Srila Prabhupada's purport. The Pandavas are most fortunate because with all good luck they were entirely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. In the material world, to be dependent on the mercy of someone else is the utmost sign of misfortune. But in the case of our transcendental relation with the Lord, it is the most fortunate case when we can live completely dependent on Him. The material disease is due to thinking of becoming independent of everything. But the cruel material nature does not allow us to become independent. The false attempt to become independent of the stringent laws of nature is known as material advancement of experimental knowledge. The whole material world is moving on this false attempt of becoming independent of the laws of nature. Beginning from Ravana, who wanted to prepare a direct staircase to the planets of heaven, down to the present age, they are trying to overcome the laws of nature. They are trying now to approach distant planetary systems by electronic mechanical power. But the highest goal of human civilization is to work hard under the guidance of the Lord and become completely dependent on Him. The highest achievement of perfect civilization is to work with valor. The word valor means courage in the face of danger, especially on a battlefield, which is applicable to the Pandavas. So the highest achievement of perfect civilization is to work with valor, but at the same time depend completely on the Lord. The Pandavas were the ideal executors of this standard of civilization. Undoubtedly, they were completely dependent on the goodwill of Lord Shri Krishna, but they were not idle parasites of the Lord. They were all highly qualified both by personal character and by physical activities. Still, they always looked for the mercy of the Lord because they knew that every living being is dependent by constitutional position. The perfection of life is therefore to become dependent on the will of the Lord, instead of becoming falsely independent in the material world. Those who try to become falsely independent of the Lord are called anatha, or without any guardian, whereas those who are completely dependent on the will of the Lord are called sanatha, or those having someone to protect them. Therefore, we must try to be sanatha, so that we can always be protected from the unfavorable condition of material existence. By the deluding power of the external material nature, we forget that the material condition of life is the most undesirable perplexity. The Bhagavad Gita therefore directs us, chapter 7, text 19, that after many, many births, one fortunate person becomes aware of the fact that Vasudeva is all in all, and that the best way of leading one's life is to surrender unto him completely. This is the sign of a Mahatma. All the members of the Pandava family were Mahatmas in household life. Maharaj Yudhisthira was the head of these Mahatmas, and Queen Kunti Devi was the mother. The lessons of the Bhagavad Gita and all the Puranas, specifically the Bhagavad Purana, are therefore inevitably connected with the history of the Pandava Mahatmas. For them, separation from the Lord was just like the separation of a fish from water. Srimati Kunti Devi, therefore, felt such separation like a thunderbolt, and the whole prayer of the queen is to try to persuade the Lord to stay with them. After the battle of Kurukshetra, although the inimical kings were killed, their sons and grandsons were still there to deal with the Pandavas. It is not only the Pandavas who were put into the condition of enmity, but all of us are always in such a condition. And the best way of living is to become completely dependent on the will of the Lord, and thereby overcome all difficulties of material existence. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshtarani. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtang Stapitang Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagadatam Sahagana Ragana Tanbatam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savanutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvatangscha. Hey Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosate Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripre Vancha Kalpatarubhya Shah Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In the drawer, you see there's a big remote. You just press the red button on the left top. Then you're free to go. Thank you, Madhu Kiran Prabhu, for scrolling the verse. So Queen Kunti's prayers continue to unfold. We're actually approaching the end. I think the last verse is 43 or 44. We're at 37 today. So, as Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, the entire Mahabharata and the Puranas, it's all dealing with practically the history of these Pandava Mahatmas. Queen Kunti, if we, again, I keep driving this point home, but it's extremely important, if we accept her as a pure devotee, then she is beyond reproach. Just as she said about the Lord herself in text 19, Maya Jabani Kachanam, Agyad Okshanam Avyayam. The Lord is beyond reproach, so the pure devotees are also beyond reproach. So, since she's irreproachable, we cannot criticize anything she's done. Nowadays, not knowing her situation as a pure devotee, people would criticize. She had an affair with the sun god out of marriage, out of wedlock. You could say that was the original hot date. That happened 5,000 years ago. But the sun god is still the same, Bhivaswan, existing 5,000 years ago and still existing today. So be very careful how you criticize any of the pure devotees. He's one of the witnesses mentioned in the 6th canto. Prabhupada said when he was growing up, and he was attending Scottish Churches College, the teachers there, British, they didn't accept this karma business. One of the teachers asked, who is the witness to what I did in my so-called last life? So Prabhupada said, later on when he got into the Bhagavatam and he got to this Ajamil Leela, 6th canto, he said there's a list there of all the witnesses of everything that you do, beginning with Kang, the sky. Where is there no sky? So you can say, well, I stay inside, so the sky can't see me. The air is witness. If there's no air, you can't breathe. So whenever you're breathing, there's air, and that air is witnessing everything that you do. And the sun god is also mentioned as one of the witnesses of all of our activities. So Queen Kunti, although she had a child out of wedlock, and although she put that child in a boat, in a little basket, and sent him down the river, again, that would be considered abominable to have a child and just put everything that she did her entire life up to this point now where she's offering prayers is sanctioned by the Lord, and therefore is beyond reproach. You cannot criticize her. This point is extremely important. I keep driving it home. As soon as you accept someone as a pure devotee, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, you cannot criticize. Everything the pure devotee does is beyond reproach. So Queen Kunti is beyond reproach, cannot be criticized for anything. So now Krishna is getting ready to leave to go back to Dwarka. And she's praying, as Prabhupada said in the purport, the purpose of her prayer is to get him to stay. Please stay, don't go. Although she knows he is all-pervading, he's sustaining everything, he's maintaining everything, he's the best friend of everyone, still, the pure devotees hanker for the Lord's personal association. Prabhupada mentioned that there are two things. There's the direct association and there is service and separation. And he mentioned especially when he was leaving for India due to his illness in 67. And the devotee was saying, Prabhupada, how can you go? We can't go on without you. He mentioned that. The association with the spiritual master, services, can be done directly or in separation. So he said, I've been serving my Guru Maharaj in separation, and I don't feel that he's gone. I feel his presence at every moment. So he said, similarly, you just continue to do your duties, as is mentioned here. Kunti said, the Lord himself performs his duties properly. And as he mentioned also in the purport, that the Pandavas, although they felt themselves always dependent on Krishna, they were not parasites. They were always engaged in activity, always working for the Lord. So this is again our situation. Prabhupada said, because one devotee was asking about the nature of samadhi. So Prabhupada said, yes, first of all, working samadhi. Working samadhi. You get into the samadhi of working for the Lord. You take some service, and you take that service as your life and soul. You're doing it not just to pass this time, not just to get over it, so you can get out and do what you really want to do. We perform our service for the satisfaction of the Lord by satisfying his representative, the spiritual master. We can never think that we can satisfy the Lord directly. All the great acharyas indicate that, like Prahlad Maharaj. When the Lord was offering benediction, Lord Nrsingadev, he said, how can I give up the service of my Guru, Narada Muni? That's the mood of the disciple. Not even to directly engage in the service of the Lord, but to serve the Lord through his representative. So the Pandavas, they were fortunate. They were directly serving the Lord. Krishna was there. He was their nephew, as in the case of Kunti. He was the cousin brother of the Pandava boys. Just like Bhimasen today is Pandava Nirjala Kadasi. So this Pandava that's being mentioned is Bhimasena. Bhimasena is also known as Vrikadar, wolf belly. He said, I am always hungry. I eat and the very next moment I'm hungry. So when it was suggested that he should, because back in those days, originally the idea of Ekadashi is that Ekadashi is supposed to be performed nirjal, every Ekadashi. I tried that for a period during my Krishna conscious career here, but I gave it up because my ears went out of balance. It's very difficult to fast completely, even from water all day. On water, I can fast all day, no problem. But without water, my ears go to a balance and it's hard to perform my service. So anyway, but that was the original idea of Ekadashi. Nirjala Ekadashi twice a month. You can't break Ekadashi if you don't eat anything, if you don't even drink water. So that was the idea. But Bhimasena was so hungry all the time that he said, I can't follow this. So he went to Vyasadeva and inquired, what can I do? What can be done? I can't fast even for a moment, what to speak of all day, twice a month. I can't do it. So Vyasadeva said, yes, I know. Kali Yuga is approaching. In Kali Yuga, people can't follow anything. So this is there, that if you just once for the whole year do a Nirjala Ekadasi, on this particular Ekadasi today, month of Jesta, May, June, if you just follow this particular day, nothing all day, then you will have achieved the benefits of all the other Ekadashis for the whole year. So that concession was given to Bhima Sena. And he was such a serious honorer of prasadam that when they were in exile, they came to one village where the villagers had made an agreement with one demon that every day you will send one person for me to eat and then I won't disturb the rest of you. So when the Pandavas, they were staying at the house of one of the families in that village, and so everybody was like depressed, and they asked, well, what's going on? So they explained to them this arrangement. And the turn had come for one member of their family to go. So Bhima Sena said, don't worry, I'll go. So the idea was they put out a big spread of other edibles, dal, rice, chapatis, the whole 9 yards, and one human sacrifice also. So Bhima Sena went, and he sat down at the table where all the eatables were there, and he started eating everything. And he was eating and honoring seriously. And this demon came and, who are you? You're eating my prasadam. You're eating my food. And demon didn't even turn around to see who it was. He just kept eating. So the demon got angry. He started beating him. And this was a demon, very powerful person. He was beating him and beating him. It's described in the Mahabharata. And Bhima Sena was so powerful, he didn't even notice the guy was hitting him. He was so strong, he didn't even notice that this strong demon, powerful demon, was hitting him. He just kept eating. And then he got up and went to the water, washed his hands, mouth, feet, which you're supposed to do every time you honor prasadam. You're supposed to wash your hands, your mouth, your feet. So he did that, then he turned around and killed him. Bam. So this is Bhima Sena, so powerful. When it's mentioned in the Mahabharata that he had the strength of 10,000 elephants, we should not think it's an exaggeration. He actually had the strength of 10,000 elephants. He was so powerful. So, but again, he was Vrikadar, wolf belly. He could not fast. So concession was given that on this one Ekadasi, just fast completely, and then you've gotten the benefit of all the other Ekadashis. So Queen Kunti is praying to Krishna, please don't leave. Prabhupada mentions that again, these are the real Mahatmas, the Pandavas. And we can follow in their footsteps, not imitate, but we can follow. We can try to have this mentality of serving the Lord, in our case, through his representative, and seriously serving. So I'm going to segue now into speaking about Yamaraj Prabhu because he embodies quite a few of these qualities. When I joined in New York in 1973, he was already initiated. He had joined an organ on the West Coast, but he hitchhiked cross country to New Vrindavan. And then from there he came to New York. And so 1973, just to put it in context, I was at that time 21 going on 22. Madhava Prabhu was not born yet. You were born in 73, right? So that's putting it in context. But ultimately, we're all the same age. It's not that I'm older than him and somebody's older than me. We're all the same age. We're all eternal. In a particular embodiment, somebody may be older than somebody else, but ultimately we should see spiritually that we're all the same age. We're all Krishna's eternal servants, the same age. Nobody's older than anybody else. Just as the Lord is Navayovanam, eternally youthful, we're all of the same nature, also eternally youthful. So Yamaraj, he, from the very beginning, got involved in ISKCON Press. I didn't get involved till 74. One day, Jayadvaita Das Brahmachari came to me and said, we've heard that you know something about computers and we're getting ready to computerize the book production. Would you like to be involved? I said, of course, I would. So at that point, Yamaraj and I had been associating in the ashram as brahmacharis, but then we really got into association because he had already been producing the books at the press. In those days, it meant typing on a typewriter, taking the sheet, wax, putting it through a wax machine, and then putting it on flats. And so I learned all of that from Yamaraj. And ultimately, in '75, we were shipped out here to Los Angeles, and together we participated in the famous marathon, 17 balls in 2 months. Now, Yamaraj, he was the incarnation of precise devotional service. Anything that required precision, he really gravitated towards. So in those days, producing the physical flats for the books required great precision. You had to, because if you didn't put the wax paper down precisely, then the whole thing was ruined. You had to start over. You had to print out, and that, by then we were doing it on a typesetting machine. I was running the typesetting equipment, and we would get this long sheet of paper that would come out, then it would be cut up page-wise, and then again waxed and put down. But you had to do it very precisely. So anything that required precision, he really gravitated towards that. He was a very precise person, extremely precise, cutting things and putting them in. And also in his cooking, he became famous for cooking. He became famous especially for making chapatis in the beginning. Because Prabhupada set the standard that prasadam meant dal, rice, chapatis, and sabji. Gradually over the years, the chapatis disappeared, but Yamaraj kept the tradition alive. And he didn't use a machine. His chapatis were all exactly the same size. No machine required. He would, and again, I learned from him how to make chapatis. He would make the long log from the dough and cut precisely each coin, and then roll it out precisely, just by eye, and not having to look at the previous one. But lo and behold, they would come out exactly the same size. And then halava, same thing. Halava, he was very precise in the quantity. And not only could he make, a small quantity for the deities, but he was expert at making large quantities, large batches of halava for Sunday feasts, etc. And again, the secret is toast the grains nicely. You can't burn them, but they should not be underdone. If you underdo the toasting of the grains for halava, it's not halava, it's cereal. So he would toast very precisely. And he told me the secret. When you toast with the butter, the grain should absorb all of the butter. Everything should be gone. And to the point where you start to worry, is it going to burn? But then if you do it on the right level of heat, then the butter starts to come out again. It starts to ooze out. And that's when you know the grains are properly toasted. So then the grains are toasted, then you add your water with flavoring, and then you have to keep stirring. Again, if you don't stir after you combine the liquid with the grain, then you get, again, cereal, not halava. You have to keep stirring. Keep stirring. How do you know when to stop stirring? When the halava pulls away from the side of the pot. Perfect. So then, after some time, he moved away from LA and Philadelphia, different place, but then he wound up back on the West Coast. When in 1989, Jayadvaita Maharaj contacted me. I was in New York at the time, and he said, at that point, they had stopped publishing the Bhakti Garden magazine. So he said, we've stopped publication, but we're putting together a team to again bring out the BTG as a subscription magazine. Would you like to be involved? So I said, okay. So I left New York and I went to San Diego in 1990 early. And the San Diego temple didn't have a big ashram, just one small room for a few brahmacharis. So myself, Yamaraj, Dravida, and Jayadvaita Swami, we lived in what they called the BTG house, which was about a 10-minute walk from the San Diego temple. And again, Yamaraj became involved in not just producing the magazine, but cooking. Again, he was making chapatis on a regular basis every day. And on the weekends, he would make halava. His favorite flavor was blueberry. But he mixed it up. He made different flavors. But he himself really liked blueberry halava. And when he made it, it was like out of this world. But on top of that, on Sundays, for the Sunday morning breakfast, just like here, they would have Prabhupada give lecture on Sundays. And everybody was looking beyond Prabhupada's lecture for breakfast, because Yamaraj would make, and he would always make the same thing. A chickpea sabji, chickpeas with turmeric, ginger, and mustard seeds, and cumin, a little bit of cumin also. But that was basically the formula. Chickpeas, he would soak them overnight. Chickpeas have to be soaked properly, otherwise you get rocks. You can't eat them. Chickpeas have to be properly soaked. So he would soak them overnight, and then the next morning, ginger, turmeric, mustard seeds, and cumin seeds. That was the formula. But when he made it, it was just, again. So a lot of devotees who lived outside who normally would not come for the morning program, they started coming. So chickpea sabji, pancakes, and again his favorite flavor was blueberry pancakes, but pancakes and a fruit topping. You would make a fruit mixture with peaches and whatever was available, and maple syrup and hot milk. So that that was the breakfast, and it became well known, widespread. Everybody, again, like I said, a lot of devotees who live, no matter how far away, Sunday morning they would be there to hear Prabhupada's lecture for sure, but for Yamaraj's breakfast. And he was the kind of person that was very, very reserved and grave externally, but actually very, very fun-loving and funny. Had such a biting sense of humor. But his external demeanor turned off some devotees. They just couldn't, they thought he was unapproachable. So I remember when we were discussing about what to do with the BTG, there was one devotee there, one of our contemporaries, God brother, but he didn't understand Yamaraj, and he said to me, "This Yamaraj is the most negative person I've ever met in my life." He just didn't understand Yamaraj. He made such a statement, the most negative, but you had to get to know him. He was not the most warm, inviting person externally, but once you got to know him, so we had a routine, he and I, we would cook every day. Every morning we would have oatmeal, we would take turns making it. And for lunch, we would take turns. He would make biryani one day, and I would make khichdi the next day. And we just kept flip-flopping like that for years. We lived together for 2 years in San Diego, and then in 92, they shipped us out to Alacha. And then from 92 to 94, we were together in Alacha. So as brahmacharis, when you eat the same thing at the same time every day, your body becomes like a machine. I recommend that for brahmacharis. That's part of brahmachari life, eating the same thing at the same time every day. And you just become, your body becomes like a machine. You know, at exactly this time, I have to take care of my body. And you do take your shower. I mean, everything is precise. So he lived like that. Again, he was embodiment of precision. And, but he could also be cutting. I had a bad habit of, because we also always had hot milk every day. I had a bad habit of, you know, trying to learn some shloka or something, and the milk would boil over. And he would say, "Arcita, don't you know that milk is your mother's blood?" So, you know, he didn't hesitate to chastise you. He could get very heavy. But such a wonderful devotee. It's just, again, the embodiment of precision and dependability and reliability. And staying in the background, not looking for any attention, not looking for praise, glorification. So, it's funny that Subhas mentioned this morning that the trustees called him from Sweden during their meeting on Wednesday. So I spoke to him the same day. I called him, it was late afternoon, our time. No, late afternoon, their time, early afternoon, our time. And we had a nice conversation. He said at that point that he could barely hear me, and not because of any bad connection, but just the body starts to shut down. So his body was shutting down. That was Wednesday, sorry. And that's what happens when your body starts to shut down, the external senses. And we should always remember that these senses are external. They're not our real senses. It's not that when your eyes close and you can't see anymore physically, that now your sense of vision is gone. No. All of these senses are actually senses, capabilities of the spirit soul. The spirit soul sees, the spirit soul hears, the spirit soul speaks, not the body. The body's just like a car. Just like if you're sitting in a car and I paint over the windows black, you can't see out the window anymore, but you still can see. You have the ability to see. So his body was shutting down, and he said, I can barely hear you. But we had a nice conversation. So I told him, I said, it's funny that the last Prophet lecture we heard previous Sunday, Prophet mentioned in that lecture, you can go back and check. Prophet said that for a devotee, death is like a temporary inconvenience. The devotee closes his eyes, and then the next moment he's with Krishna. So he liked that. He said, death is a temporary inconvenience for the devotee. And then I also mentioned and reminded him, I think he knew about it, but I reminded him that when Sudama Prabhu was leaving his body, his mother said, Sudama, think of Prabhupada, go to Krishna. So I said, Yamaraj Prabhu, do the same. Think of Prabhupada, go to Krishna. So at 5 a.m. Friday, he left. And they say that he was listening to Prabhupada chant when he left, and it's not a struggle. The devotees there, he was in the Brahmachari ashram at that point, and the devotees were taking turns being with him during the day and during the night, like that. So funny, on Thursday, Pushkar was with him, and he called me. And he said, Arcita, I know you wanted to talk to Yamaraj. I said, I spoke to him yesterday. I don't want to disturb him again. But I was talking to Pushkar, but somewhere the Yamaraj was hearing in the background. So I told Pushkar, I said to Yamaraj during our conversation that Prabhupada said, death for devotees is a temporary inconvenience. And Yamaraj heard, and again, what I said. And Pushkar said he was laughing. He was laughing. Yamaraj Prabhu ki jai. So any questions, comments on the verse? We don't have a lot of time. Radhakrishna Prabhu's hand went up first. You can just say, I can repeat if the microphone is not available.
Who's it, Prabhu?
Wait. You had a question? Okay.
In regards to Pandavanirjala, what if you have a service where it's like physically demanding and it's not necessarily practical, like it's dangerous to actually not take a little bit of fruit or something? Is that okay? Or?
Everybody's situation is different. It's not a hard and fast thing. Just like we know from the recollection of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's interaction with his devotees, and the preachers, they were saying they couldn't go out because it was a Kadasi, and he said, eat grains if you have to. I want you to go out and preach. It's not that he wanted him to eat grains. The idea is you have to do what's practical for your service.
Thank you very much for the wonderful class, Prabhu. I'm in the purport, Srila Prabhu, he was saying that on the battlefield, that all the demoniac kings, they were all killed, but their sons and grandsons are still alive. I'm just curious to know what the demoniac king Duryodhana has any sons and grandsons?
Duryodhana? Good question. You want to know if Duryodhana had any offspring?
Because the Pandavas has only one grandson, Parikshit Maharaj.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just the Pandavas and the Kauravas. There were a lot of other kings from all around the world that came and participated. So they had offspring. I'm trying to jog in my memory about Mahabharata, and I don't remember any mention specifically of any children. Anybody else know? Any children, offspring of Duryodhana or any of his brothers? No. Dhritarashtra had 100 sons and one daughter. But the question is, did Duryodhana or any of the other brothers of the 100 sons have any children? I don't recall any specific mention of that. Duryodhana's daughter. Yes, Duryodhana had a daughter. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. They all had wives, yeah, because the wives were lamenting after. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't remember any mention specifically of any sons. Yeah.
in those beautiful prayers of Queen Kunti, it's a request in the Lord, like, like, now you're living, and what's going to happen to us? And someone can say, well, just follow him, just go to Dwarka with him. Everybody should go. It appears that sometimes certain so-called material duties or social duties have to be performed. Just like in the prayer of Brahma Sanghita, Lord Brahma, he could just have gone. Krishna is right there, but he went to the spiritual world. Can you explain more about that?
Yeah, well, again, pure devotees are acting on exactly what the Lord wants him to do. So the whole battle was fought to enthrone the Pandavas so that it can rule the world. So if they were to leave, then the whole thing would have been useless. Specifically, that battle was fought to get rid of the demoniac kings and install Yudhishthira as emperor of the world. Because the world requires proper leaders. Proper leaders, not the current misleaders that we have. So Krishna wanted them to be there. So although they may have desired to go with him, his desire was that they stay and rule the world properly. Later on, as we know, when he finally left, then they left also right away. When Arjuna came back and Yudhishthira saw he was morose and what's going, I can understand Krishna's gone, so they left. The ladies were still present, Kunti and Devaki. Not Devaki, what's her name? Gandhari. All the other ladies were there in the palace, and again, I've mentioned this many times, but it's very indicative of the mood of a pure devotee. The Pandavas, as it's mentioned here, the whole Mahabharata, the whole war was fought, centered around them, and they were fighting to protect the honor of Draupadi. But when it was time to leave, they didn't even tell Draupadi and Kunti they were leaving. They just walked off, and the queens saw from the palace windows, where are they going? They're going back to God, and then they all followed. So it's very telling that the devotee has feelings for other devotees, wives, children, etc., but their highest feeling, their deepest feeling is for Krishna. We should never forget that. Sometimes we see in our society, devotees are so tightly bonded to each other that they leave together. They're so tightly attached to each other that they go away from Krishna consciousness together. But our strongest attachment has to be for Krishna. The whole motivation for taking to Krishna consciousness is Krishna. As it's mentioned, Krishna is the center. We should never forget that. We're not just devotees. We're trying to become devotees of Krishna. But we understand that we have to do it through Krishna's representative and in the association of other devotees of Krishna. But Krishna is still the central point. Not that I'm so attracted to and so attached to this devotee that it doesn't matter what anybody else and Krishna service goes to hell and I go off with that person. No. We are attached and attracted to Krishna. And we're trying to serve Krishna. But we have to do it through Krishna's representative. Okay, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.